Welcome to This Explainer. Look, today we are going to completely dismantle everything society is telling us right now about stress, about finding your purpose, and honestly, about just trying to fit in. We live in a world that practically brainwashes us every single day to believe that absolute total relaxation is the ultimate goal of human existence, and that pressure is our absolute worst enemy. But as we break down the ideas from author and thinker Robert Greene today, we're going to discover that the truth is actually the exact opposite. So get ready, because we are flipping the table on a lot of those cozy, comforting concepts we've all gotten so used to. We're going to uncover exactly why this obsessive, nonstop pursuit of just chilling out might be the very thing destroying your true potential.
Okay, let's dive into this. We are totally obsessed today with phrases like, hey, chill out, take a vacation, don't pressure yourself, or stress is going to finish you off. But you really have to ask yourself, is this constant, unending relaxation really what we need? The shocking truth here is that this emptiness, this excessive relaxation we're all chasing, it might actually be the real hidden killer of your passion and your spirit. Robert Greene points out something that feels completely backwards at first glance. I mean, we are hardwired by modern culture to believe that stress is this absolute evil and that we constantly need a break. But the reality? Feeling bored, losing your sense of urgency, and lacking any sort of positive pressure to push you forward, that is what actually destroys you. Think about it. When you don't have anything urgent to do, you just start doing things halfway. You know exactly what I mean. You're mindlessly scrolling through social media for literally hours, or you're standing there staring blankly into the fridge, just hoping a new snack magically spawns. Without pressure, you are basically manually turning off your own internal engine. To really get this, we gotta look at how our brains are actually wired. The human mind evolved under immense pressure and incredibly harsh conditions. Just imagine you're out in the wild, thousands of years ago, and there is a leopard that could pounce on you at any literal second. Under that kind of intense pressure, you are forced to think, to be creative, and to strategize just to stay alive. Greene calls this the barometric pressure of the mind. When you feel it, your entire body goes on high alert, and you can accomplish in days what might normally take you months. But now, what have we done in the modern era? Well, we got rid of the leopard. We removed the pressure. And the result? We're just wandering around aimlessly, playing video games for 6 hours straight, or just kind of drifting. Our massive primal energy just dissipates into 20 different useless distractions, because the brain doesn't have that barometric pressure waking it up. Honestly, your brain needs pressure to function at its peak. So where did we actually lose the plot? When did we stop knowing what naturally motivates us? To answer that, I want you to mentally travel back in time. Specifically, go back to when you were 8 years old. Around that age, you had this pure, innate, and super simple inner voice telling you exactly what you naturally loved. Whether you were obsessed with words, or numbers, or building weird things out of blocks, or drawing, there was no overthinking it. It was just a pure, natural pull. But then, what happened? That clear, primal voice just started getting drowned out by this massive wall of noise. You started hearing the voices of your parents telling you what a safe, respectable job looks like. You had teachers forcing you into a standardized mold. You had culture dictating the exact definition of success. And of course, your peers deciding what's cool and what's lame. Little by little, that precious inner voice was completely suffocated. And the disastrous result of all this noise? Young people today are absolutely terrified of being different, or stepping off the path that satisfies all those loud external voices. And honestly, this brings us to the real danger zone, because as humans, we are absolutely desperate for a purpose. It's a hunger that you simply cannot ignore. So the terrifying question is, if your inner voice is completely silenced and you don't discover your true, authentic purpose, what are you going to fill that massive void with? Because believe me, you will, inevitably, fill it with something. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive difference between us and literally every other animal out there. Look, animals don't wake up in the morning, have a midlife crisis, and think, what should I do today? Should I hunt that gazelle, or maybe I should pivot into tech? No! Their purpose is automatically programmed right into their instincts. But us humans, we aren't born with our life's purpose permanently burned into our brains telling us what to do every single second. We actually have to actively search for and discover our unique role. And if we don't honestly embark on that search, we are going to get completely lost. So when we do get lost, we start turning to what Greene calls false purposes. Without a real, authentic direction coming from the inside, people start looking for artificial substitutes just to feel like they belong somewhere. This could be substance abuse, it could be getting sucked into destructive cults, or honestly just throwing yourself blindly into angry, toxic political movements.
These things don't represent who you actually are. They just act like a powerful drug, giving you the illusion that your life has meaning, when in reality, you're just venting your deep internal frustration because you aren't living your true life.
Okay, so if you're stuck in that cycle of frustration, how do you actually break out? Green lays out a very clear process for this. Step 1, and this is absolutely crucial, stop playing the victim. You have to stop blaming your spouse, your boss, the algorithm, or the economy. Step 2 is the toughest one. Lean into the pain. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. Acknowledge that, hey, maybe you're making decent money and you look successful to everyone else, but inside, you wake up, go through the motions, and you feel entirely miserable. You have to really feel that pain until you finally snap and say, I literally cannot do this for another 5 years. And then comes step 3, make a bold change. Find a totally new challenge. And the crazy part, the very second you make that decision, an energy and vitality you haven't felt in years is going to come rushing right back. Now, speaking of that energy, Green brings up a really crucial point for young men today who might be feeling a bit adrift, specifically regarding this concept of masculine assertiveness. There's a lot of confusion out there right now. Now, to be clear, toxic and harmful behaviors are absolutely unacceptable. But there is a totally natural energy, ambition, and innate competitiveness that exists. This assertiveness and drive are incredibly powerful tools. It's literally what gets things built. The issue isn't the energy itself. The problem happens when society tries to completely suppress it instead of disciplining it and channeling it into healthy, productive directions. You shouldn't be ashamed of having ambition and assertiveness. You just have to learn how to master it and use it to build something great. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the harsh but absolutely necessary wake-up call it presents. If you are replaceable, you will be replaced. That is the absolute, unvarnished reality of the modern workforce. If you are just doing what everyone else is doing, thinking exactly like everyone else thinks, and just coasting at 50% because you want to keep your backup plans nice and safe, you are just a cog in a giant machine. And the very second that cog breaks, or someone younger and cheaper comes along, you are gone. So what's your actual defense here? Is it copying whatever the latest influencer is doing on social media? No way. Look, because we're social animals, there is this massive, crushing pressure on us to conform, to wear the exact same clothes, have the same opinions, and blindly follow the same trends. But conforming just turns you into a duplicate. Your only real defense and your absolute biggest competitive advantage is your uniqueness. It's the weird, quirky stuff that sets you apart. You were designed with a completely unique fingerprint, so stop trying to sand it off just to blend in with the herd. You have to figure out what makes you odd and invest in it heavily. And if you actually commit to this, if you embrace your weirdness and grind on those skills, Green points to a really fascinating number, age 31 or 32. This age is so often the massive turning point in life. It's that magical stage where all those random skills you picked up and all that grinding you did in your 20s suddenly fuse together. It's the moment your unique path finally snaps into focus and you actually start reaping the massive rewards of refusing to surrender to the noise. But hold on, this does not mean you're supposed to become some soulless robot who never cracks a smile. The real secret here is balance. On one hand, yes, you absolutely must take your life's tasks seriously. Your youth is going to vanish in a blink, and in 10 years, you'll wonder where the time went. So discipline is non-negotiable. But on the flip side, don't be so rigid and strictly linear that you completely suffocate your own spirit. You need to actually live, have some fun, go on a crazy adventure, make some mistakes. You can totally balance rigorous, serious discipline with actually enjoying the wild ride of getting there. So let's wrap this up with a thought that I really want you to chew on today. In a world that is constantly screaming at you through glowing rectangles, telling you exactly how to live, what to buy, and who to be, I challenge you to cut the feed. Shut out all that toxic noise for just a minute. Sit in honest silence and ask yourself, what actually excited you? What made your eyes light up when you were 8 years old, way before the world stepped in and told you to be practical? Find that curious kid again, because honestly, hidden in whatever they loved is the absolute key to your real purpose and a level of true success that nobody can ever take away from you. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and we really hope it sparked that fire for you today.